was the wrong person.
That was Randy. It
So,
was Valentine's
he
Day.
got his resolution. Got his resolution from the board. 32 years of service. Hasn't been able to hold a job really because how many different positions I've got. I think Supervisor Derry about fell asleep reading off. Said he helped while he was working his way through the county, but we finally got that done. Let's see. Chris and I have a memo from the SB Sarah. That's the people that all of us are actually working to get a memo from, except Bob, and then Bob's probably going to want another memo when he gets ready to leave. But basically the memo says is the above named employee, Michael E. Romage, has applied for service retirement to be effective February 25th, 2012. The employee's last date on payroll should be February 24th, 2012. Please ensure the employee does not perform duties. He doesn't. Receive credit for compensation for service time on or after this date. I'm kind of thinking they moved that date way after compensation for this last couple of weeks.
Well, you don't want to say anything right
Since
now.
the official memo has those dates, we're going to abide by it. But what we do have is something that something for Mike's mantle, or one of his mantles at one of the dartboard, or one of the 100 houses he has out there, Mr. Landberry. He's got 100 different mantles or something to put in his in his man cave that he's getting ready to finish up out in his garage pretty soon. Mike, we've got your actual retirement certificate from SB Sarah for you. Here's the memo that you can put that in your scrapbook. And here's a certificate of retirement from SB Sarah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's a card from everyone. Open it up and enjoy it. You know, I started working with Mike back in 1997 when the board created Land Use Services as a department. And they merged the Ag Commissioner's Office and some people from Environmental Health Services and some people from Building and Safety. And I know it. You can't hold a job. And they took a bunch of rowdy ragtag people from all these different departments and put them all together and created one department. And we were all wondering how that was going to work out. Now we see. But the first time I met Mike, we were in a meeting and somebody was talking about how this procedure was going to work. And Mike's sitting in the back and he's shaking his head. And I never had met Mike before, and I'm thinking, what's this guy doing in the back shaking his head? And we kept on talking, and everybody was throwing out some opinions, and finally Mike just says, that's not going to work. It's like, what do you mean that's not going to work? We have the best minds in the county sitting in this room making these decisions. And Mike's just like, I've been doing this for a long time, and that's not going to work. It's like, okay, whatever. So the next meeting Mike wasn't invited to. We made all these great plans on how things were going to happen, and we started to implement it. We found out, damn, that's not going to work. Maybe we need to get that guy in the back seat. Maybe he knows a little something about what he's talking. And so anyways, I didn't have a whole lot of interactions with Mike when we first got started, and I finally got to meet him a few years into the program because I had spent all my time up in Victorville, and Mike was down in the valley. And once I started working with him, I figured it out that this guy really does know what he's talking about, and he has a good idea what he's doing. He's been doing it long enough, and he's got some good ideas, and he's definitely not afraid to give his opinion. And if you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask him, because he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to give you his opinion in as few words as possible, but he's going to get his point across. And that's one of the things that I've come to respect the most about Mike, is that when he does something, or if you ask him something, he's 110% honest with you. He doesn't try to sugarcoat anything. He tells you the way it is. He'll give you his opinion. His opinions are generally right. And if something happens and there's a mistake, he's the first one to stand up and say, hey, you know what? that was me. I did that. I made a mistake. And he doesn't try to minimize it. He doesn't try to pawn it off on staff. He doesn't try to do it. He stands up and he takes it and figures out a way to fix it from there. And, you know, for me, as the manager for code enforcement, I knew that I could depend on Mike to do anything I needed him to do. I didn't have to tell him how to do something. All I had to do was tell him, this is what I want the end result to be. Don't come back to me until you've got it figured out. And that was usually 15 or 20 minutes later, he had it figured out. He should probably spend 10 minutes of that drinking a soda or something. just to make me feel better. But anyways, you're gonna be greatly missed. I think you've touched everybody's life in here one way or another, whether working with them or supervising them. You know that everybody that's worked for you has told me that it was probably one of the best times that they had. They learned a whole lot from you, and you'll be missed, but I sure hope that you enjoy your retirement.
Yay!
I mean, how many in here have had me call you? Because when I do, it's normally because I've heard from the CEO, I've heard from the supervisor, I've heard from the field rep. Mike gets those calls. And that's how we got to know each other. And I agree, Randy. I mean, he had the answers. He knew what he was doing. I felt really confident in the work that he did. And you're going to be really missed, but we're really happy for you because 32 years is a long time to be doing that.
Thank you.
But you're taking away all that knowledge and all the dedication you've done. Just a great job. And I know when Randy's been gone and I've relied on you for assistance or information, you've been just a straight shooter and always had a solution. That's why I learned he was retiring. He says, now you need to know. I'm going to be gone. I know this was last year, but I just need to tell you. All right, I got it. We can't talk you out of it. Nope, I'm ready. Okay.
Well, now when you get the calls that they want me fired.
Too late.
I want to thank you. You've done a great job, and it's nice to have that support.
Thank you very much.
There's Greg.
Now the real surprise. They all said, Mike could tell you how it is. Yesterday he was interviewed by a reporter, and they said, tell me about yourself. Tell me what you've done. And he just sat at the table like nothing. He says, I don't think. And he couldn't come up with anything. One of the side things I do, a lot of you know this, is with the Sons of the American Revolution. And one of the things that organization does, it's a national organization, where we actually honor people that go out of their way for good citizenship. So we passed a resolution, and it lists all the things that Mike forgot. So this is a copy.
All right, thank you.
That's an official document.
Good citizen.
That's
right.
You promoted the committee. What went along with that resolution? I'll read a couple of things that you'll understand. What goes along with that is you actually get a Medal of Honor.
I'm missing it.
And to get you started in your retirement, this is a reproduction of the first penny that was created in the United States. That's what the organization does. They have what they call challenge coins. And if a member of the organization doesn't have one of the challenge coins, when somebody asks, they get to buy everybody breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever we happen to be doing. So if you're not a member, you don't have to worry about that part.
That's what you brought as coin, right?
Okay. And because of the organization we are, this is the part, you'll read it in detail, I'll just kind of paraphrase it. But one of the things Mike likes to do is hunt, and that ties back to our original forefathers that would not have been able to create the country. They couldn't come here, hunt, fish, support themselves. And then also in here is that you pass it on to your family to keep it going. That's recognized by our organization.
You're as bad as me.
I see Michael posing next to that little baby buffalo too.
But it talks about the tire program. And you went out and you were basically, most of you know, some of you don't know, but came out in the desert the first time. Mike would drive along and drive down the hill and he'd go, "There's tires everywhere." Well, we managed to get a tire program going, and Mike and Bill that are here basically went out of sight and we tried to bring in all the tires, and these guys would be unloading them from the trucks, throwing them into the pile. Pretty soon the pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
5,000 in one day.
Yeah. And it got to the point where the guys slowed down. So then they went out and started issuing citations to the guys that didn't bring the tires in while the tire cleanup's going. So they did everything they could. And after that, you drove along and you had to somewhat look for tires. There was still a lot out there. But it kept going. It's still going. This tire going. Also talking about the cleanups. Came in the area and did a lot of community cleanups. And Mike was one of these guys that didn't sit back and watch. He would be like the crew, jump in and start helping the people, get it going, encourage people to be there. So it talks about that. Talks about the in-out vehicles, working in the community, getting rid of a lot of in-out vehicles.
Junk and trash cop. So we are.
It also brings back, and I had to put something in here with this because a lot of this is the things that Mike would tell everybody that he did, but then when it came down to somebody to ask him, he didn't do it. So we got it documented for you. It talks about repairing the lawnmowers, the string trimmers, the chainsaws, basically for fire hazard abatement. He was the one that maintained the equipment for the crew. If something broke, it came to Mike to fix it. So he was there on the weekends repairing the stuff so the guys could work during the week and keep going.
And he was real good at it.
My old boss. In agriculture.
Also talks about when he was in the fires as part of the disaster response team. And animal control was here before. I think they're all gone now. Oh, okay.
There she is.
Oh, there you are. Where I was. Right. When you couldn't see me, I couldn't see. It talks about the cruelty to animal cases that you had. So it kind of goes on. That's what I said. He couldn't say what he did, but this kind of as a resolution that becomes part of a national organization basically says the things he's done for the community. We recognize the animal honor.
Thank you, Greg.
Something a little bit
I guess that means I got to say something. But thanks for everybody coming. In case I didn't introduce you, part of my family's here. My granddaughter, Kenzie, my daughter Susie and her new baby, and my daughter Amy, my son Michael, and my daughter-in-law Chrissy. And so they're all here. And also, thanks, Griff, for coming. He's my old boss from agriculture. I appreciate somebody from agriculture coming. He came here to get used to this because in 3 weeks he retires. Working for the county's been really good, and they've always been good to me. One of the best things that ever happened to me, agriculture was real good to me, but when we came to code enforcement, I hit the jackpot the way I see it. Land use services code enforcement was really, not only did I get a pay raise, but I learned a lot of stuff, and Randy Rogers was the best supervisor I ever had. You guys are really lucky to have Randy here as your code enforcement boss. And I appreciate everything that you said about me. Most of it's true, I guess. What I'm going to do is, I'm only 56 years old. I'm going to get a little bit of money, and I'm going to hopefully do some of the hunting and fishing that I've been telling you guys about. And I haven't lied about everything in the baby buffalo. I got lots of stories, you guys know that, but the first buffalo hunt I went on, it was a little bit. And when Greg mentioned cruelty to animals, I thought he was going to bring up, those baby ones taste good. But then I went back the next last year and got an 1,800 pounder.
Oh,
Yeah, but we don't know what to talk about. That's no fun.
So anyway, I appreciate everybody coming. It's good to see all of us together because we haven't, at least in code enforcement, been together for a while. And you guys will see me around because I hope to be in the office once in a while, bugging Susan. My son doesn't fire me, and we're going to so out of the year. And so thanks again.
Problem is with bloomers, all you do his hands are all in.
I'm not hearing this, man.
You're not listening. We ain't paying you, so
So you can't hear.
Anybody else have any stories they want to tell about Mike? Griff, please.
Just a short one. Mike and I have known each other a long time. Actually, some of my fondest memories, we used to go to the same karate school, and he would pound on me regularly, and vice versa, and it was a lot of fun. But more than anything, I count him as a friend because he's helped me with lots of different things, not just with work and all the machinery and stuff that we dealt with in weed abatement, but stuff with my family and stuff around the house and things like that. And congratulations, Mike.
Anybody else got something?
I got stories from my grandpa, but they're not appropriate.
Daniel's grandpa and my dad were in the Knights of Columbus.
Oh.
And that was a group that's similar to E-Clampus Vitus.
A lot of people don't know. Tony and I worked with Mike's dad at the hospital. And
Yep.
so he's nothing like his dad. His dad's actually a really nice guy. One thing that's going to be bad is we've got a staff meeting scheduled for after Mike retires. Our staff meeting is probably going to take half the amount of time. We're not going to get to hear any of his stories, but the best part was his stories were always funny. The stories were always good.
They were always true, too.
Where's Tony at? What was up with Mike sitting at the drunk stump, or what was that?
Oh, the hump stump.
Mike going out, telling us all of his escapades that he's got. So we're really going to miss. Our staffing is going to be a lot more boring unless Julie steps up with some stories.
I used to try to make Julie upset.
Mike could talk about something that would get him fired up, and he'd start, and then he'd look at Julie and say, "Excuse my language." All right. So, anybody got anything else they want to say? Otherwise,
We're going to miss you, Mike.
yep.
Thank you. I'm going to miss you guys, every one of you.
Thanks everybody for coming. Enjoy the rest of however much time you can spend. And
Did you bring beer, Mike?
I'm going to have one tonight.
One. Little bit left out there, so thanks.
Not even walking around.